there's going to be plenty of people that have top 10 greatest boxers of all time lists, right? Many, many people with many, many different opinions. Now, maybe Johnny Tapia won't be on everybody's top 10 list of greatest boxers of all time, but I know damn well he'll be on a lot of people's top 5 of most entertaining boxers ever. When you would go and order a fight on pay-per-view, sometimes, depending on the fighter, you're not going to get the greatest of fights. You're not going to get a boxer who likes to get busy. I'll tell you one thing. If you bought a fight and Johnny Tapia is on it, he is going to give you every bit of your money's worth and then some. I have never seen a boxer in my life that he enjoyed punching people in the face as much as he liked getting punched in the face. And I'm not saying Johnny would, go around getting punched in the face all the time, but he just was a brawler. Like, this guy was, he was a great boxer. He had great boxing IQ, but he also loved to brawl. It didn't always work, but it worked most of the time. And so Johnny Tapia, Albuquerque's son, was born February 13th, 1967. And let me tell you, to say that this guy had a rough upbringing would absolutely be an understatement, because this guy, you want to talk about he had it rough. He had it rough, and I'm pretty sure he had it more rough than most of us watching this video right now. Growing up without a dad, mom being brutally murdered when he was only 8 years old, to see your mother as a little kid being dragged out of the house by her boyfriend and murdered, to see your mom screaming and being thrown in a truck and into the darkest of night. So you got an 8-year-old Johnny Tapia that is being raised by his grandparents. He doesn't know who his dad is, and his mom, he's going to her funeral. Never going to see her again. Little boy, 8 years old, never going to see his mom again. So in his family, I believe one of his uncles and a couple of his cousins, they were really into boxing. One of his uncles might have actually been a Golden Gloves fighter. I'm not sure, but he definitely was a trainer. So when he was about 9 years old, his grandfather and they're like, "Hey, you're going to box. You're going to box." You want to talk about somebody who almost seems like he was born to fight. You talk about a born fighter, you're talking about Johnny Tapia. He was the IBF and WBO super flyweight champion from 1994 to 1998, and the WA WBO bantamweight champion from 1998 to 2000. 66 total fights, 59 wins, 5 losses, 30 wins by way of knockout. This guy had a high boxing IQ, but he loved to brawl. He loved to mix it up. And you tell me, a Johnny Tapia fight that he didn't come in he may not have come in the best of shape. He might have been doing some other extracurricular activities, but he's coming to fight. And as a boxer, when you're about to go into the ring against Johnny Tapia, hey, be in for a long night. Just know that, be in for a long night. Very, very troubled a man in his, as a little kid going into teens, his adulthood. Had a big time drug problem. Actually, he was suspended for about 3.5 years from boxing because he tested positive for cocaine. And, that was a drug, one hell of a drug, as they say. And that was a drug that would be the demon in the life of Johnny Tapia. So I want to talk about the first fight that I've ever seen with Johnny Tapia, right? So the first fight, Johnny Tapia, he's fighting this guy, right? His name was Cesar Soto. So I used to work at a convenience store in Las Vegas. My boss was a really, really big boxing fan. So one day he said, "Hey, you want to come to my house to watch the Johnny Tapia fight?" I said, Yeah. Now, I didn't really know much about Johnny Tapia back in 2001, and I definitely didn't know who the guy he was fighting. But of course, I heard of him, and I said, yeah, I'll be over there. So Saturday night, I go to his house. I bring the beer, and he brings the fight, and we're watching Johnny Tapia versus Cesar Soto. Now, this is the first time I'm watching, other than highlights, this is the first time I'm watching Johnny Tapia fight. And I just remember, like, that guy, Cesar Soto, he came in, because Mexican, a lot of great Mexican boxers, right? A lot of great boxers came from Mexico. And that dude came to mix it up with Johnny Tapia. So I said, oh, crap. And my boss was a big Johnny Tapia fan. He's like, nah, he goes, no, Johnny's going to win, man. He goes, that guy doesn't play, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And the first 2 rounds was not going Johnny Tapia's way. Now, he was trying to brawl him, and maybe it wasn't Johnny's night, right? But I remember after the second round, I told my boss, I said, it ain't. I said, you're telling me that this guy's a great boxer. I said, this ain't going to work out his way. So Tapia comes out in the 3rd round and just starts punching this guy in the body. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm not thinking much of it, but he's just going to the body. He totally changed up his what he was going to do in that fight. And he just, boom, right in the liver. And that guy, Soto, went down like 3rd period French. I guess that's something that can go down. Or a fight going down. Or maybe a party going down at somebody's house. I could have come up with a better analogy. But the point is, that guy went down. I'm going down. And after that fight, man, I became a fan of Johnny Tapia because that showed me that, this guy, he liked to brawl, but he's also, he's not a stupid guy. He loved to mix it up. He loved to fight. And like I said earlier, when you were to get a Johnny Tapia fight on your pay-per-view, you were going to get your money's worth, and that is for sure. Another fight that I see with Johnny Tapia, now that, he fought Marco Antonio Barrera. That was like, I don't remember exactly when that fight was, but that was another fight that I seen at my boss's. I watched a lot. I've probably watched about 15 fights at my boss's house. He would get all the pay-per-view fights. And man, Marco Antonio Barrera, nobody gives him enough credit. That guy is just a beast. He might be one of the greatest 20 boxers, arguably, ever. I don't know if he'd be in my top 20 list, but if someone put him in the top 20 list, I would say, yeah, okay. And I don't know if they were friends or they got along, but I remember they were like touching gloves and they were kind of like talking during the fight or whatever. And, that was Marco Antonio's night. But I think they were friends because they seemed like they got along really well. And, this guy, he had a nickname, Mi Vida Loca, and he had it tattooed on him, My Crazy Life. Because this guy just, he lived that fast life. He lived that crazy life. His wife was saying in an interview that they got married, right? He asked her to marry him, and she said, yeah, I think they were married within a week. And the night after the honeymoon, he disappears for 2 weeks. And she's like, where's Johnny? He's out in the street somewhere, just partying. That guy was a party animal. And, when it came to fighting and getting in shape, no, he was all business. But, man, when he wasn't, in training for a fight, yeah, he was living it up on the street. And back in 2007, he had almost died. He had I believe it was a drug overdose. He was in critical condition. I remember when he was on the news, I was like, damn. And then he was able to pull through. But all that partying would quickly catch up to him. And he died on May 27, 2012 at the age of 45. He died of heart failure. Just years of drug abuse, living fast, living way too fast. This is the final resting place of just an absolute legend in my mind. This is Johnny Tapia's grave. And I was live streaming last night, and someone said, "You gonna go?" Because I said I was in Albuquerque. They said, "You gonna go visit Johnny Tapia?" I said, "Are you crazy? Of course I'm going to visit Johnny Tapia. Of course I am." You can see like this like boxing ropes right here. Entered the ring February 13th, 1967. Raised in victory May 27, 2012. Five-time world champ, 3 weight classes, 59, 5 and 2, 30 KOs. Tapia. And right there, Mi Vida Loca. That was his saying, Mi Vida Loca. This guy, man. You know, I didn't know Johnny Tapia. I never met him. But he reminds me of a guy who, if you were at a bar and he were there, I bet you can just talk to him. He'll probably talk to you, whatever, buy you drinks. He seems like a really nice guy. This guy, he loved life, man. And one of the most exciting boxers. I mean, I want to say he's in my top 10 of just, hell, he might even be in the top 5 of just, this guy never stopped moving. Even when it wasn't his night, he never stopped moving. He was always coming forward. This guy was just Johnny Tapia. He was just La Vida Loca. He loved Albuquerque, and Albuquerque loved him. I read that his grave was vandalized a couple of years ago. Now, I don't know if they're talking about this because it looks like somebody came in here and just kind of like tagged with something, rest in peace, champ, only champ. So I don't know if they mean by that, but I don't know why anybody would want to come and mess with his grave, man. They got some real weirdos out here. But I had to come here and just say the rest in peace to the champ, the one and only Johnny Tapia. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Videos like this, I don't like doing because I enjoyed his fights. Rest in peace.